Julie, aka the Beantown Ghetto Shaman, coming at you live. Got this organite here, organite for the people. Helps with the left waves, extra low frequency waves. I'm doing this video because many people that know me didn't want me to do a video for a minute. They was like, dude, you gotta share your wisdom, knowledge with the people out there. And not to say that I know everything or know anything, but the experiences that I had over life, I think that it can be useful for some people on this thing called, the journey of life that we're all going through. I'm from Boston, from Roxbury, and I come from a family of artists. My aunt was involved in the Black Panther movement as an artist for the local Black Panther newspaper in Roxbury. My father, he used to play jazz music. He used to actually, my pops had the opportunity to play with the famous Pharoah Saunders once. Pharoah Saunders he's just that dude. He used to rock out with John Coltrane, Alice Coltrane and all that. So I came from a family of very interesting people. My moms and my pops taught me from a very young age about mysticism. And my father hit me to a lot of things on meditation, reincarnation and all that. And and also, yoga, and, my father introduced me to Tai Chi and all that at a very young age. But, the neighborhood I grew up in, we were very like the black sheep of the neighborhood. So when I would leave my spot, I just wanted to be embraced by my peers. And a lot of times going to Malcolm X Park, doing Tai Chi with my father and stuff, the neighborhood kids would try to make fun of a brother. So a lot of things I kind of left and did my own thing when I came of age, when especially a teenager. But everything goes in full circle. So it was really building with a lot of brothers from the streets that dealt with very esoteric knowledge. I got introduced to the 5% Nation, Gods and Earths, Malachi Z. York's teaching when I was about 13. Started having this whole conversation and awareness about black people having origins from outer space and stuff. And for me, at that time, that was very mind-blowing. At such an early age, like at that age, 13, 14, ingesting that type of information was, to me, it was like I felt cats was really just watching too much science fiction or fantasy type movies. But it wasn't until I did my own research year after year, coming up with so many indigenous people that said the same type of story, said the same thing, the Zulus being connected to Mars, having connection to the planet Mars, Dogon tribe saying, black people having a connection to the constellation Sirius, the Navajo, the Hopi, the Cherokee. The list would go on of different people. Cherokee saying from Pleiades, different. I was seeing all these different connections, and it just and the cats that I was getting a lot of this information from, they were OGs. They were really, about their business. So, in my opinion, I was like, wow, this is, these guys, I have a lot of respect for them. They the older gods, may look into this, and the universe, the ancestors, I give thanks because from my own research and stuff, it allowed me to open my mind and see that there's much more to this thing called reality than what we think. Than what we think at all. You know what I mean? So, that journey led me down a lot of different schools of thought. When I started getting back into Tai Chi around 17, 18, around in high school, I started really messing around with the Chi, with the life force energy. And many cultures call that vital life force energy by different names. You know, Ki in Japan, Chi in China, Prana in India, Sekhem in Kemet or Egypt, you know, and the list go on, you know, Ashe, this life force energy, I was able to really experience it from doing various Tai Chi exercises, Qigong exercises, deep breathing exercises, and mastering the breath, you know. It's almost about 20 years I've been messing around with the Qigong Tai Chi, and there's always so much to learn, you know, because knowledge is infinite and you keep going and keep going. It's a beautiful path. And what was so interesting, particularly like with the Tao Te Ching, which is more or less the philosophy of Tai Chi. You know, they call him the old man, Lausa, you know, they call him the old man. And he's responsible for writing it, coming up with the Tao Te Ching, which is an excellent book, a book full of wisdom, you know, on the way how to live your life. And they talk about in that book how to basically Taoist philosophy is talking about how to become a child again, how to become full of vitality and energy again, and being able to, like one of my old Tai Chi masters said, becoming like being so relaxed. It's like nothing gets to you. You know, it's like someone doing this and that and the third trying to get you go. You know, it's like water off a duck's back. Like one of my old Tai Chi teachers used to say to me in the class, you know. And it's very true. You know, you look at a child, you know, I have a daughter that's 1 year old, you know, I'm a new father. And you look at children and they're in the present moment. You know, they stay in the present moment. And they're not caught up so much in the future, and they're not dwelling on the past. And a lot of times they're in the present moment of playing and enjoying that moment. So as the old sages, you know, the old masters would say, becoming a child twice, becoming a child once again. And that was into the whole philosophy of the Taoists of becoming immortal, because their science was the immortal science, you know, how to reverse the aging process. And for some people, they might be like, yo, you know, I don't know about that, dude. You talking about some old otherness. But again, it's not about listening to me or listening to anyone. It's like I said, even in my journey, in my earlier years, it's about doing your own research and compiling the information, having your own experience, and then taking your own, you know, final steps in what you access, what you think this reality is, you know. So when in regard to reverse the aging reversing process, it's all about chi. It's all about taking in more energy and not releasing the energy, you know. You lose the energy through stress. You lose the energy through the lower emotions. That's why a lot of these masters was staying on a dean on the level of being able to be at peace, to have a very calm state of mind, because they know it all dealt with energy, you know. And that also goes into the science of went into the tantric schools, or the schools of sexuality and spirituality, right? And seeing how what we call the Taoists, especially in the Taoist schools, what they classify as having for the men, particularly an inner orgasm, the inner orgasm, you know. And I was lucky enough that my pops hit me to that science at a very young age. You know, he gave me this book, school bus going by. I remember those ages. It was torturous. But anyways, I remember my father hit me to the fact that he said, you have to be careful of how much semen that you let out, how much you let out. And that goes into the science of also being able to keep your chi high and all that. But I'm going to go back because these videos, these times be running out. And I'm going to continue the conversation. Peace and one love.